Made in Russia. Wow. That's pretty wild. You are now watching Farming with Duffy Ag. Welcome back to the channel. Switched up the bandages. We got some blue. Big fan of blue. Just not blue tractors. With that being said, 7520. We are still after it. Just got a few things to do. I got no help to actually give me a hand splitting it today. So we will see how this all turns out. I'm a little nervous. But with that being said, hopefully by the end of the day, we will see what that other clutch looks like and start putting my clutch in, the new clutch. So appreciate you guys watching along, liking, subscribing. Let's get into this. Can't get that one out because I can't hold the gun and hold this bolt on the other side. This is all tapered. So these are the actual nuts and bolts, but one there, then these 4 that go in. I took the bolts out of the motor mount. I got the wheel loader over here. Not really sure exactly what I'm doing on this. I think I'm gonna slide the forks in, pick up, chain to it, and see how that goes. Chain everything so it's tight. But I got those 4 out, those 2, so all that's holding this side is 3. The motor mounts are out. Theoretically, I should be able to chain to that, take those bolts out, and then pull it forward. Theoretically. Being a one person, this is probably not a very good idea. So yesterday I sat for almost 2 hours waiting on some help because I physically can't do it by myself. I just can't. And with that being said, the farm decided they wouldn't help me for a while. And then about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they could help me for 30 minutes. So here I am the next day, and they said, oh, we can help you tomorrow in the morning. Well, it's 10 o'clock, 10:15. Nobody can help me. I physically cannot do this by myself. There's no possible way. Maybe if I had a splitting stand to shop, knew what I was doing, but I can't run the loader, make sure things slide apart correctly without dropping everything, smashing things. It's just unsafe. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do here. This is the problem. I wish I had enough work that I could hire somebody full-time to help me out, but currently I don't. I have enough projects, but I don't have enough income to hire somebody full-time. So I don't know. I really don't. I'll probably sit here for 2 hours and waste away the day, and sure, I could go do other stuff, but then I get sucked up in doing other stuff, and then I never get this done. And I wanted this done today so that I didn't have to worry about it during the week. But I'm getting tired, like wore out, tired, so that's why we're sitting here. I got everything out. I moved it a little bit, but I'm just nervous. Yeah, I think it's a good call for me not to try to split it by myself. Watch those jacks, that's the big thing. That is progress. Here we go. Motor time. Not really sure. There was no real good lift point, so we're going down to the actual motor block. Putting two on either side. And hoping that that comes out, then I can do the clutch, slide it right back in. Hoping. Got 3 pieces. That's always a good sign. Is it? No grease. That goes to right here. Got 3 pieces. That's always a good sign. It's a grease fitting. So these bolts is what actually sits on the clutch. What would that be called? The clutch engagement that goes to the fingers. So you can see that this one's worn, that one's worn, that one's gone. The top piece is in the bottom of the pan or in the housing. That is why it could never disengage. So that 100% is why it stayed engaged. So, well, I'm gonna have to get some parts. So we're gonna slide it inside the shop, and then I'll get it tore down. I gotta get parts for other stuff on this, so it's all part of it. Never ends. Oh, I do see that there's a bracket here that holds it. I was worried maybe these fingers were broken, but the fingers seem pretty good. There is some play. We'll have to look if that's the pin or if that's the fingers or if that's supposed to be like that. Yeah. This disc took some abuse for sure. Should clean up. They don't make that. Yeah, the grease line clearly isn't doing much. So I gotta get a grease line. And I got the bearing to go in here. I got a pilot bearing to go in the motor. Shouldn't be too bad. But I've never taken this apart, so I never even thought about those bolts being the issue. I gotta go find my book. Is it here? Is my big book here? Where's my parts box? No, it's over here. Yep. There's my service. There's the operators. Haven't opened up to this one yet. Turbochargers, alternator rebuild, powertrain. That's a divider. Here's the clutch. There it is. Okay, since we don't have an alignment tool, I might go rob it off the other tractor. Oh, 4 pages, pretty straightforward. Fair bit of money. Yeah, all part of it. That actually worked out pretty good. I wish I had help yesterday, midday, because this would have been out. I can't do much because I didn't order those bolts, and I don't know if they're specialty or what. So I'm gonna make sure I get them from Deere. But what it tells me to do is take the 6 cap bolts off this whole back piece. I was gonna take all the fingers off first, but it says do that after. But yeah, finger damage. The clutches might have more life left in them, but the fingers are definitely bad. But if I'm having it apart like this, we are doing it all. So, I don't know what this is. I feel like I wanted to take the clutch springs off first, because now I got no force. What? Yeah, the book definitely led me wrong on this, because now we're all, maybe not. Maybe that holds it all together, so. Alrighty. Maybe that book was right. Oh no, we still got one in over here. Fuck. Back to one-handed things. My hand is doing better. For anybody who asked. That ain't too bad, we'll scuff that up. Got some cracking between them. They still got some life left in them. I guess we got to compare it to a brand new one. I think I bought a new one of these. I don't actually know exactly what I bought. So it's got 2 clutches. Definitely some life sucked out of it. These pins look good, actually. And that's the whole housing there. Ooh, throw-out bearings. Junk. Let me show you. Yeah, so it's all grooved, like it's tight. So I believe I do have that. Let's actually look. The shop's a mess, I know. Those of you who are new to the channel, I know. I think this is the bearing that goes inside where the throwout bearing is. And then the pilot bearing's got to be somewhere in here. I know I bought one. Yeah, that's the big one that goes inside of the housing. Alright, we got some spring pieces. Ooh, this might be the biggest wear part. On the fingers, we got all the I bought all the springs because I wasn't gonna screw around. I didn't know. My springs actually look pretty good, but we're gonna switch everything. So yeah, there's a new clutch. Doesn't look as worn. Like mine don't look that worn, but as I figured, if I'm in there, we are gonna fix everything. So, don't cut my finger. There's a new one. Oh, pilot bearing. Here's the old one. It's not as bad once I got it out. It definitely has some spots that aren't that great. But, made in Russia. Wow. That's pretty wild. I don't think I've ever seen a bearing that was made in Russia. VGF, Russia. That's wild. I'm gonna save that. Let's throw my new one. New bearing. What does it say on it? Doesn't say anything. Yeah, it's a deer bearing. Who knows? SKE. That's normal. So, I did pop this off, retorqued it back down, checked the rear seal, rear main seal. That all looked good. I thought about changing it out, but I feel like if it's in there and it's happy, don't touch it, because the newer ones probably don't hold up nearly as good as the OG ones. So, it looked good. That's why I'm not changing it. I'm sure somebody's going to say, oh, why didn't you change that? So we'll slap this one back in, or just slap the new one back in here. And what that does is the shaft that goes through the clutch actually rides on this. So that's the pilot bearing. And then you have your throwout bearing that is on the other end, that your throwout for the clutch. Yeah, the ring, actually, that's what you press down and that moves in and pushes on it. So. Alrighty, let's do that. Alrighty, I had a buddy who did this, who told me what to order. So this is the one I ordered, which is that plate on the outside, not the middle. He said the middle, you clean it up, you're all set there. It's usually the back side that gets all beat up, which I don't know, yeah, you can't really tell. It's kind of glazed right there. That one's actually, it's got a little bit of glaze in there. We'll clean it up. We'll clean that one up. This was like 900 bucks. So, but that's what the springs ride on and everything else. So that's your main pressure plate that goes against it. So, I lied to you guys. We had to take that back out. I got new pins that the clutches, the plates ride on, which is good. These ones had significant wear in between. So I put, whew, I just hit my hand too. So, let me grab you off here. I popped the housing back off. So there's 3 of them. And the way to get to them is the back side. Punch them out of that hole. And then put the other ones back in this way. So, learning. Cleaned up both of those. That actually looks good on the screen. I gotta rub it. I touched it as I put it in. It's just sitting there, so it's out of the way. Those are the old clutches. Put cap screws in, or cap bolts in, I guess. And that actually sucked it all in, so now it's loose. Now I can take all this apart. So we'll have to pop that, see the pins, see what's actually worn. If there's anything worn, or if that's just normal play. It is stripped down. So I never realized these little caps just slide up and that's all that pushes. Probably should replace those. I've never been into a clutch like this ever in my life. So see this cap, it just pushes down through. Yeah, pins are worn. Should have thought about that. These pins are worn. Let me see when I get this over here. So, I guess we gotta punch these out. I do have new pieces in between, so I'll have to get new pins for that. Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure. Yeah, we should do all that. So, I gotta make a list and order some parts. I don't know if I want to do that rear seal or not. I'm kind of thinking I do, because I can't go any more forward than where I am now, and it looks like a friggin' mess, but it's all laid out perfectly for me, right? Yeah, this is learning, but I'll order some parts. It's really not that bad to get back together. The adjustment, I got a tool from a fella, and when we go ahead to do it, I'll read what it says. to get it adjusted right. But otherwise, it's really, yeah. Once it's out, it's not that bad as long as you got the parts. I got all new springs, the inside and the outside ones. They're all over there. That new plate there, I might look up how much that plate in the middle is, just so we have pretty much everything new. Because I do not want to ever do this again on that tractor in my life. There's no need for me to have to. Pretty much it's a tillage tractor. I know pack and bunk, but it's not like we're slipping the clutch. It doesn't have a huge load in front of it or behind it. This is what this tractor's meant to do, so. I knew this day was coming. It's not like I woke up, we went out, and I was like, oh my God, I never knew this was gonna break. I didn't expect it to break the way it did, but as long as we're in here, well, I guess I'll jump up and we'll do a comparison. New clutch. I gotta clean my hands. Yeah, this isn't going so hot. People ask me how I get so dirty. Well, I've been working on this for 30 minutes, and that's what my hands look like. Granted, I was out there before, but my hands were not that black. But grabbing onto clutch discs and stuff like that, and wearing gloves, usually I just rip the gloves, and then I have a ripped glove and a dirty hand, and it's just bad time. So ended up doing a throw-up bearing as well. So this one is also from Russia. 2 Russian bearings. I've never seen Russian bearings. I don't know how common they were back in the day. It's always Chinese, but I know at that time in the 70s, China really wasn't a boom in China, or I guess Japanese. But both of these are Russian, and they're actually in decent shape, so I'd probably put one in that's not going to hold up the same way. New stuff really, but I figured as long as I'm here. So I did end up buying all the retainers. I got that plate in between. That's only 120 bucks for that whole plate. So I ordered one of them. Ordered rear main seals. The retainers are like $28 a piece. I figure as long as I'm there, and we're doing it. So everything except for the housing will be new. So I got all the pins. The pins were all wore out. You can see that they got grooves in them. Same with these pins, they got grooves in them. Figured might as well do that. Got the bolts that went bad. Gonna be a whole new clutch. I hope it works. I hope it works damn good. I think I've always had this issue that it never fully disengages, and it makes shifting a little harder. So should make it easier to pack bunk and easier for people to run. Cleaned up some of my mess. It's supposed to rain on Tuesday. Fertilizer's supposed to come, so hopefully we got some action of that for you. But yeah, put the new bearing inside. Get the grease line that went bad. That grease line goes from right there, and then it greases this, which is the throw-out bearing. So when you push on the clutch, all of this comes forward, hits those fingers, and then it's good. Here's the broken piece that broke off. So you can see there's some wear there, and it broke off and finally wore itself down enough that it stopped disengaging. That explains what was going on. There was a lot of talk of oh, it's just glazed over and it's grabbing itself. Just hook it to a big implement and yank it around till it disengages. Usually I don't see that as the situation, but I thought maybe they're right. But I said at the same time, I got to do a clutch, so I might as well do it right the first time. Glad I pulled it apart, and that's pretty obvious. So that was a failure, but got everything. Ordered the new broken wedge for this one. I do know I got to do seals in the front here, and the shims that go side to side, the for the axle housing. I think it will be easier to get it back on the tractor, run it for a little bit before we get into really packing for corn and fall tillage. I'll drop the blade mount off, and then it's 8 bolts in the front, 8 in the back. I did order a new U-joint too, because they lost some of that broke when it came out. Drop that, and the front axle rolls right out. So I think that will be the better option instead of having a million pieces right now. Plus my bank account's starting to tell me no more. So that is where we're at for this. It's going to be a few days before I get the rest of the parts, but once I get it, we should be able to slide back together and should be easy enough to do. So appreciate you guys watching along. I hope you have enjoyed some of this old iron wrenching, and we'll get the beast going. I did order a new AC compressor. That one has issues. We're going to update it, hopefully make it ice cold in the cab, finish the cab up. So alrighty, appreciate you guys watching. See you on the next video. Probably top dressing corn, but we will see what goes on. So have a good one.